Good morning, and how is everybody doing? And welcome back. As you know, last night we started on this friend of mine's F150 to do shocks on it on all four corners. Got a little late. I had to stop. Went ahead and posted that video last night, or uploaded that video last night. I did run to the hardware this morning to get some new nuts and bolts for the bottom side of the rear shocks, and I also picked up some new ones for the front side too. The bottom of the front is a fixed bolt, but it also has a metal sleeve with inside the rubber bushing on the shock. So I don't know if those are going to come out. So right now, just to save time, I went ahead and picked up new hardware. If need be, we'll have to cut those off, knock that bolt out, and then just drill a hole, or just knock that bolt out because it is a captured bolt within the frame or the mount itself. So we'll have to see what we can do to get that out to use this new hardware. So I do have everything ready to put the rear shocks back in. I know you were looking at my shoulder. That doesn't work real well. So, so we need to get these rear shocks in, spin the truck around, and also get the front shocks out and put back in. We are finally, after struggling so much last night, I went ahead and jacked the truck up, put it on jack stands. Just in front of the front shackles, or the front spring hangers, leaf springs, and then also I have the axle sitting on a jack. That way I can lower that axle to be able to put the lower shock mount on, because it will, the shock will go all the way out, and it takes just a little bit to get those pushed back up in there. To get that mount done. So as you saw on when I was doing that Dodge, same principle. So right now I gotta crawl under there again and see if we can get those shocks put back in. We'll get the driver's side done first, just to help things slide together and go together, and take just a little bit of WD-40 or some grease or something and spray inside this rubber sleeve. It just helps that slide on just a little bit better than just trying to put it on dry. Then we're going to cut this little retainer here and allow that shock to come down. Just like so in the pocket. And we may have to take a crowbar or a pry bar and pry up on that just a little bit to get the bolt started. Alright, there's that side. I don't know if you can see very well, but I just sprayed some WD-40 and then used my dead blow hammer and put that on, then put the nut on, and then cut the clamp and let that come down and put the nut and bolt through the bottom. So we'll do that on the passenger side also and get those tightened up. back shocks are on, and I do have the truck spun around, and I do have the tires off just to give me some more room on both sides. Also, what I found was this truck is equipped with quad shocks, which means there is an outer shock and there is an inner shock. So I had to run a couple of errands to grab the right ones. The ones that I had were for just all the time. The ones I had were just for a single front shock. So I had to run to my parts store. They had to order them in. They did get them in for me today. It just took a few hours, so I ran some other errands. Anyway, now we can get back to work. So right now, I'm gonna get these front shocks off and hope everything goes according to plan. But I'm not gonna make any promises. We all know when it says not a big deal. We all know when I say it's not a big deal, it always takes longer than what I anticipate. Might give me some troubles. You can see these top mounts here have this lip on there, and you got to reach down in. May try and cut that top off. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. It's like that on both of them. So I don't know. We'll see how well they come off and how well they don't come off. So I don't have my tools out yet. I don't know what size I'm going to need. I imagine probably an 18 on the front also, just like it was on the back. That's what it looks like there. I did get everything sprayed with WD-40. So we will see what happens. Okay, upon checking, these top bolts on top of the shocks are 18 millimeter. What those are there for is to hold the shock as you loosen that top up, and that top nut is a 15 millimeter. So this one I already have broke loose, and it is coming off. Or breaking off, which is fine by me. So that's fantastic. That makes my life a lot easier. Now let's see if we can do that to this one here. I don't think I'm gonna get lucky enough for that one to break off. Or maybe I will. Fantastic. So, those are off. Now we just gotta take the bottoms off down here. All right, we'll get this rear bottom out. See if that'll come loose, hopefully. We don't have to cut this one off. Perfect. That makes life so much easier when it's like that. Collapse this shock down, hopefully. And take it out. There we go. Well, that one's out. You do have the ability also, you could cut, well, you can cut down in between each one of these, or you could take it off here and here too. But there's only one more to hopefully get off, and that's around the front here. And that's that one right there. So that came off pretty easy. The nut did anyway. We'll see how this comes off. Cool beans. So there's both front shocks. That went better than expected, to be honest with you. Right here are the new ones. We have, okay, the new front part number for quads is this right here. That is the outer shock, and this part number is the inner shock. And I think I said it just a few minutes ago, but what I mean by outer and inner is behind the coil is inner, and on the outside of the coil is the outer. So pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Now let's get these boxes open and see if we have the right ones. That one should be the out or the inner. No, that one's the outer. And this one here is the inner. So everything seems to be the same. Got the steel sleeve there for the inner, just the rubber bushing for the outer there, and then of course just the standard shaft for the top. These are your hardware packets right here. Yeah, so just put everything back together the way it came apart. So we're all good to go with, we're gonna do these outers first. You have, remember to put just a little bit of WD-40 on that rubber to help you slide into place, just like so. You can start your nut on there. And then collapse just a little bit to get that to go in the hole. Put your bushings on. It may be necessary to take and put a jack underneath this section of axle. This truck is equipped with the mono twin I-beam axle in it, which each side is independent of each other, so it doesn't have a straight axle like a 3/4 ton truck. Ford did these for I don't know how many years, but you can see how it has that twin I-beam axle in it. So you're gonna have to take and get a jack underneath of this axle and lift it up just a little bit. So I'm sure this top nut is going to be a different size than what the factory one was, but we'll just have to grab a different socket. Put a little bit of WD-40 on your bolt. Help that just preserve it just a little bit more. Everything's, as things age, things start to rust, so. I should have grabbed a socket, but I didn't. I imagine it's a different size. Here's my 15 millimeter. Well, I was wrong, people. I was wrong. It is a 15 millimeter. Well, I dropped my 15mm. I don't know where it went. Driver's side is done and put back together. Wait a minute. No, dummy. This is the passenger side. So now we'll go over and get started on the driver's side. Passenger side went pretty good. Pretty happy with how it come apart and went back together. It went a lot quicker than I anticipated. Let's hope this driver's side goes just as good. If you remember right, those top ones busted off, so made life a lot easier instead of trying to get those turned all the way off. But I still have not found my 15mm socket. I do have the outer done on the driver's side. I had to do a lot of grinding, cutting, and cussing, so I didn't turn the camera on for that one. Right now, I'm going to get started on the inner on the driver's side and see if that one comes off any easier than what the outer did. So, without further ado, let's get started. We'll see how well this goes for me. This side here, this inner fender is a lot tighter than what the passenger side is, and I just don't have as much room. I just don't know what the best way is to take that off there. I can't get my 1/2" ratchet in there, as you can see, and I can't really get my cutoff wheel in there to cut some of that off. So I don't know how I'm going to approach this one yet. I might grab a bar and a 15mm wrench and then put my 18mm on the bottom here, just like I did last time. Grab a 15mm with a bar on it and try and break that off of there. It's the best way I know how. Alright, I don't have enough room to get in there with a wrench and a bar like I thought I was going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cutoff wheel and I'm going to go down the side of the stem, or the bolt if you will, and cut the nut on both sides, on this side and on that side, on the shock, not on this spindle. And by doing that, I'll be able to take a hammer and chisel and then punch it, and it'll split the nut apart in 2 separate pieces. So it'll allow me to take that off of there. You know, I don't get the luxury of working on new vehicles, which is, you know, it's fine by me. I really enjoy the challenge of working on this older stuff, rusty stuff, whatever, just to make me think on how I'm going to tackle and actually do something. You know, the thought process of fixing this stuff, it takes a little bit longer, or, you know, it may take a little bit longer to fix this older stuff, but I enjoy it. I think it's the challenge within it that makes it fun to me. So let's get this tore apart. All right, with that, so this is what you end up with by doing it this way. You can see how I cut down that nut along the shaft there, or shank, whatever you want to call it. And I was able then to just go ahead and pull that out of there. So now we have the last shock off and can get it put back on. So basically, just like the other 4 or other 3, these go together, or this last one goes on the same way. Well, no, it's not, because at first I gotta cut that out of that pocket. What I gotta cut the old bushing out right here. I forgot to do that before I can put it back together. So you just take this, take 2 after I get that bushing out of the way, put that up in place, spin this around, give it a little push up. Let that come down just a little bit and put your bolt in. Like that. Put your nut on the back side. This is going to be ready to go to get tightened up. Actually, you can go ahead and tighten it up if you wish. Those are 18 millimeter, just like the backs. There's that done. Put your bushing on the top. Put your cup washer on top of the bushing, and then put your nut on. And that's a 15 millimeter. You just tighten that up. Alright, turn that so it turns that around. Now everything is done. Shocks are in this truck. So, alright guys, I appreciate you watching very much. Hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, be greatly appreciated. Once again guys, I appreciate everything. Thanks for watching, and just enjoy life, enjoy working on your vehicles. So thanks a lot guys, we'll talk to you later on. Bye bye.